Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 8 of What If Naruto Failed his Genin test and was given intense training. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also stay tuned for new episodes coming over on Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. Yes, you heard that correctly, I have 3 channels. Anime King 2, and Anime King 3, which I post on every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying and talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So the last time we left off, Aoba came back with Sai, as Aoba had knew about Sai being a part of Root, and Danzo had deemed the boy as a failure because he was showing emotions, but still he was quite effective, yes, very effective. He came back as he saw Naruto in the corner, curled up. As he go over to Sakura and asked her to report, she told him what happened. As he gave her a look, she was a team commander. She was the one to take care of the responsibility. She sighed as she made her way over, Sai behind her, as she managed to get Naruto out of his bad mood. With that, the group packed up the next morning as they made their way off. Making their way, they came across a dead body as Asuma had shielded Genin from it, but Naruto had already seen it because of the fox, relaying the information in his head right away. They made their way down the slump as Naruto saw a formed family. Their clothes were covered in blood. The fox was reading their evil intentions. They had slaughtered the real family, and they had someone hostage. As Naruto moved without thinking, his body slicing through the first one's neck with his tanto. He attacked brutal and swift. As he looked towards Aoba and told him that there was a prisoner, Aoba nodded as Naruto made his way down there. As with that Sai and Sakura followed, Aoba felt proud in himself because the other Genins all froze up, but his team was on the trail. Things went bad down there though, as Naruto saw and heard the evil thoughts of the woman that was carrying away the young child. As Naruto ripped her apart, Sai inclined and knocked Naruto away before he could do the unthinkable. He was about to eat. Yes, he was about to eat the woman's heart. As Naruto calmed himself, as the fox kept on relaying information to him about what Sakura and the others were thinking. As he took several deep breaths, he lost himself a moment ago. Sakura tried her best to be calm about it, but everyone could see the look on her face. As they made their way back to camp, they explained. Sasuke wanted to fight Naruto. As he was smirking, he wanted to see which one of them was better. But Aoba turned towards Sakura and told her that she was a team leader. She could authorize this match. Sasuke simply smirked. The girl was obsessed with him. She would do it. But she said no, surprising everyone, as she wouldn't let Naruto fight. He was not in the condition to do anything right now, and they were on a mission. Sasuke scoffed as he made his way off. With that, they went further up the mountain as they continued to trek. They arrived as they saved many people. The landslide that the mountain broke in half had hurt, damaged many people badly. He made his way as Sakura told him that Ino had the equipments. As he went to find Ino, as both of them made their way, as the equipments were gone, she wasn't watching over the place. Naruto sighed as a woman came in, wearing a pink yukata. She told him that she wanted to thank them by giving them her basket, and she had some equipment so they could help with the digging site. Naruto appreciated as he went to go find Aoba, but something was wrong. He was attacked by Miyaizu and Gozu, the same one that they let go of, as he was teared through the side by one of their claws. As the girl, no, it was a boy, the one that came in the tank to give them the herbs. She spoke of Zabuza-sama as Naruto didn't know what the hell was going on, as he was too weak to fight back as he left him for dead. He rushed back to the camp where he saw all the people in there were slaughtered. And Ino, she was on the ground, her throat slit. She was dead. So yeah guys, that was basically last we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So this will begin this new episode. Her throat was slit, clean open. Her eyes were open and glassy, still in the shock of her death. Blood was splattered all over her clothes. As Naruto just stood there, looking at her corpse, footsteps could be heard as Aoba rushed inside the tent. As Naruto heard Aoba panting from exhaustion, he slowly turned as he looked at Aoba, who had blood all over his body. Naruto, what? They killed her, said Naruto, as he pointed towards Ino's corpse. The enemy, the missing names, the ones that we met for Wave. Sensei, they killed her. As Aoba nodded towards her direction, before slowly closing in. You ran? He asked carefully. No, said Naruto, as he gestured towards a gash on his side, now clear and clean, with unblemished pink skin. The Kyuubi healed it all up. They left me for dead, Sensei. I'm alive because of luck. All the training did was make me run like a headless chicken. He laughed, but there was no mirth in his voice. Like a headless chicken, he said, his eyes seeming to be empty. Alright, Aoba said. Holster your weapon and then come here. As Naruto looked down towards his arm, he was gripping his weapon. He didn't even notice as he placed his blade in. As he stepped forward, it happened abruptly. A few civilians stole the cooking utensils, and since no one is around, Asuma-san went to go get them back. But they were just a distraction. The enemy had been baiting a few Kiri Onvu at the border to follow him. And when Asuma saw them and they saw him, well, they decided to try and claim his bounty. Aoba pulled out that scroll, the one that he carried on him all the time. As he unrolled it, revealing a seal and a ray, the one designed to carry corpses. At the same time, Sasuke and Ami were still missing. And Sakura asked Kiba to help her track them down. I remained behind at the site, and I saw you going with Ino towards the camp, so I trusted you to do the right thing. In the meantime, Pakon, one of Kakashi's summons, called me to help. Aoba grimaced as he poured chakra into the seal Nari. He was facing Kakashi of the Hidden Mist, a master in silent killing. And, well, he couldn't pin him down long enough. And the fact that he also had to protect the Genin, and with the mist surrounding the area, they were just holding us back enough to slaughter the people around here. Kabuto needed a hand moving some of the wounded somewhere else. He got Sai, Shikamaru and Choji to help. I figure, since they were with the most Chunin group, they should be fine. He remained silent as Naruto watched Ino's body poof away, sealed in a scroll. She was gone. That was supposed to make him feel sad, right? I'll have to give the news to the others. Kakashi collapsed from exhaustion, and Asuma went back to get the medics. Aoba frowned. Thankfully though, there weren't any casualties amongst the medic Chunins. There was a casualty though, Naruto knew in himself. A casualty that he could have said something about if the fox had spoken up. A casualty that wouldn't have happened if the fox had been there to curb the evil from the world. Naruto did not know what to do right now. On one side, maybe he felt responsible for Ino's death. On the other side, he barely survived with his own life. The Kyuubi had saved him as to just extend his prolonged existence. But the fox had told him. The fox told him of the enemy shinobi. The fox whispered in his ears that Kabuto was a spy. But all he did was ignore everything because he didn't want people to think that the seal had been weakened. He acted selfishly and kept everything to himself. And Ino paid the price for it with her life. Naruto, Aoba said, you shouldn't beat yourself up over this. You couldn't have saved Ino. You did your best surviving. That is more than enough, Aoba said. Naruto nodded as he did not trust his voice to speak up. The enemy attacked in an instant, and it happened so quickly. He felt so empty, just like that time when Toki exhaled his last breath. Time skip. The mission was deemed a failure. Silence. Throughout the entire day, as Naruto's eyes were fixed on Aoba's vest, where the scroll was, where Ino's body lay. As they left, the moment the sun rose, Naruto was glad that no one was talking to him. He didn't know if Ino's teammate blamed him for her death or not, and he didn't want to know. Ignorance was a bliss. Yes, it was. She will be missed. People will scream. Humans will scream, the fox said. They cry a lot too, even if I don't understand that. Why cry when you cannot stop nature? Do you cry when a wolf eats a rabbit? Do you cry when a tree is felled by an axe? So why cry when humans is killed by another? Humans, they cry too much. Naruto's eyes are transfixed on the ground as he walk. Humans always think they were special. I've got opposable thumbs. I've got a brain. I got feeling. Stupid animals. And trees don't. So I can cry and think that my life is better than everything else. You pathetic creatures, sicking me to the core, said Kyuubi. As Naruto simply kept looking down, as he quickened his pace to make sure he wasn't left behind. Don't worry, they won't leave you here. You're too priceless. You're a Jinjulki after all, a weapon to be used. You could have actually killed a girl. You could have actually raped her dead corpse. And they wouldn't even flinch. That is a law of nature and strength. And because you have it inside of you, they won't care. That is a law of nature and strength. The law of might and power. Powerful will do, and the weak will obey. That is how things work. The strong can burn and destroy, it can murder and kill. The strong can pillage, loot, and rape. And the weak can do nothing but cry. Cry their eyes out because they're too weak to stop it. As Naruto grit his teeth, and I am malice of the sinner and the sin, the hatred of the murderers. So I wonder why you think my whispers are false. I don't need to lie to you, child. I only seek to tell you the truth. Until a day comes when you crumble up and just blow away in the ashes of life. Naruto shook his head. Deny all you wish, but truth cannot be refused. It cannot be denied. Believe in whatever God you think exists. Believe in whatever make you sleep at night. But know there's nothing beyond life itself, but you still refuse to listen. The reason you refuse is simple, because your entire existence would be a lie. Why have you suffered so much when the end is nothing? If there is no hell or heaven, then why have you suffered? Why have you been through so much? If you have nothing to look forward to, why have you followed laws? Why have you calmed yourself, keeping everything together if there is nothing waiting for you? If there is no punishment beyond death, why not slaughter your enemies? Why not quench your thirst in your blood? As Naruto took several deep breaths, he could ignore the Kyuubi. Hadn't his mother and grandmother do the same? Naruto, Sakura's voice, still stricken with grief, woke him out of his thoughts. Are you alright? He looked up towards her as he gave a nod. Death is the only real thing in this world, boy, said the Kyuubi. Nature is nature. Life must end. Is she consoling you because she's sad? Or is it because she believes it's the right thing to do? Or is she aiming to please the sensei? Or to help you? I'm sorry, said Naruto. I should have. Naruto, Sakura said. You did what you could. Had it been me or Sai, we wouldn't have survived. It feels wrong, said Naruto. She had friends, family, love, happiness, and was taken away, but yet I remain behind. Why? Survivor guilt is unneeded in you, dickless, said Sai. As he looked towards Naruto, you were trained better, you were stronger, you survived. It wasn't your fault. I shouldn't have left her there alone. I should have known something was strange, said Naruto. And what then, said Sai. You would have just died sooner. This death happened, and you cannot change it. You can only live on. But Naruto, Sakura said, it's alright. As she placed a hand on his shoulder, you couldn't do anything to help. It wasn't your fault. You couldn't do anything, the Kyuubi said. It wasn't your fault. After all, you had no idea what was gonna happen. Did you? I mean, it's not like anyone whispered to you about the missing names, and told you about the spy, and told you what was gonna happen. Truly, boy, you couldn't do anything, said the Kyuubi. As there was mirth in the fox's voice as he spoke. Yes, it was, said Naruto as he snapped back. It was my fault. All my fault. Shut up, said a voice. As Shikamaru turned as he looked back at Naruto, his dark eyes staring right into Naruto's. Ino was a friend of ours since we were kids. But it wasn't your fault. She was bossy, always expecting to be right, and petulant. But this wasn't your fault. She didn't train. Hell, we didn't train. I watched you fight the bandits. And hell, clan child or not, you would win against all of us. So if you had no hope of surviving, what made you think Ino would? You were just lucky, as he sniffed. And Ino just wasn't. As he turned his head forward, Choji just kept on eating chips, as he was finding comfort in food. He wouldn't be able to defeat me, Sasuke said calmly. I would have saved the civilians and the girl. Shut the hell up, Uchiha, Kiba snarled. I swear, if you say another word, I'm gonna shove my fist where the sun don't shine. Sasuke can protect me from Zabuza. Naruto Baka would have never been able to do that, said Ami. All of you, shut up, said Kakashi, as he looked towards them, as the usual calm expression that you could see from that one eye was not there. One of your fellow Konoha shinobi died recently. Have some respect. The rest of the trip was quiet. No one saying a word as they made their way. Even the fox kept quiet, as the gates were wide open as usual. The three Genins of the entire team delivered their written reports to their sensei before they turned to leave. Naruto wait as Sakura grabbed Naruto's jacket from the back. Let's go eat somewhere together. You too, Sai. I have an errand to run, Cherry, Sai said. Enjoy your date with Dickless, as he disappeared in nearby alleyway, leaving the two stumped teammates behind. This isn't a date, Sakura said. As Naruto merely shrugged at that. Where should we go, he asked. We could go get some ramen, there's this new place that opened up. As she gestured to the opposite of where Sai went. Hey, wait! As the both of them paused, they turned towards Uchiha. We're in Konoha now. Fight me, said Sasuke. We just came back, Sakura said. Can't you wait until tomorrow? I'm not talking to you now, Sasuke said. Mission is over. He can decide by himself now. As Sakura looked offended at his words. As Naruto simply frowned. No. Chicken, said Sasuke. Yes, I am. Let's go, Sakura. You're just a coward. You left the girl and ran, isn't it? That's how you got away. That's how you survived. By running away, Sasuke said. They ignored him as they made their way down the alley. After a few more minutes of walking, they arrived. The Hebai. That was what the place was named. Snake, said Naruto, as that was a word for snake. Who would name a restaurant Snake? My parents baked the bread for their shop. They also serve ramen, said Sakura. This is the place, said Naruto. You sure? Sakura nodded. As they entered, Naruto saw glasses holding sweets. It looked more like a coffee shop. The walls were a cerulean blue. The tails were mahogany. And chairs. It looked more established than he thought. It is, a boy said, as a boy was leaning up against a wall. He had pale skin and red eyes. His hair was light blonde. As he smiled, we also serve much more. Whatever the heart desired, he said. Table for two, he asked. Naruto fidgeted a bit. This place reeks of high costs. And shinobis have a discount, the boy said. And all prices are affordable to deal with. We also take checks, and as long as you leave us your shinobi ID, we can take the money directly from your account. We also guarantee confidentiality. As he looked over the both of them, especially with couples. We're not a couple, Sakura said. We're just back from a mission. Oh, the boy said. Want a quiet corner anyway, as he pointed. As there was a booth. Red lighting just seemed to surround it for the strips. And the lampshade made everything seem quiet and calm. There's no ban on shinobi drinks as well. If you want a stiff drink, no thanks, Sakura said. As Naruto walked with Sakura as they made their way over to the table. He did not use the transformation, but then again this shop just opened, right? And not to mention his hair was black now. There was no way that they were going to recognize him. He should have gone to talk to Danzo, but as it was, he needed time to get his thoughts back. Ah, if it isn't Haruna-san, as a man walked over with a mustache. I just talked with their parents this morning. They always strive to provide me the best in baked goods, you know? They were slightly heartbroken at you not being back yet, but I suppose I can't fault you. Such a nice looking man, he said, as he looked towards Naruto. As Naruto was surprised by the warmth in the man's voice. Sakura sputtered it was not what it looked like, but the man simply chuckled. Don't you worry about it, I won't be telling your parents that you're here with a boy. As Sakura sighed. So, you're ready to order? Kuro-san, said Sakura. It's really not what you look like. Of course, Kuro said. Of course, he said. As there was mirth in his voice. Ramen, said Naruto. What type, Kuro asked. Pork. I'll have a salad, Sakura said. She bit her lip. And Uncle Dumpling, she said. And a mitsu dessert, as always, Kuro said. Yeah, said Sakura. Good, the man said with a chuckle. What about drinks then? Soft drinks, water, energy drinks, coffee? You would let someone drink coffee with ramen? Naruto asked. He was just curious. Of course, the man said. Whatever the client desires, whatever the heart wishes for, we are here to give it through food. If someone wishes to drink coffee while eating ramen, it's their choice. not hours to make. I'll have water, said Naruto. Me too, said Sakura. Then have a pleasant wait, Kuro said as he leads the way off. The both of them stood silent for a moment, as they could hear the other people chatter around them. Naruto, you alright? Yeah, said Naruto. It's just... Ino died and... We're here, he said. Ino was my first friend. I still can't believe she's dead. Every time I think that she's gonna pop out from nowhere just to say she was playing an act so Sasuke would fall for her. And she's gonna curse me about my forehead. We used to do a lot of things together as her body started to shake. She was the first one to tell me that my forehead wasn't ugly. I didn't believe her in the slightest, but I went along. She was everything I want to be, sure of herself, prideful, always with a smile and headstrong. But then she had to ruin our friendship and fall in love with Sasuke-kun. As Sakura looked down towards the table. I know you did not run away, Naruto. You're not like that, she said. You would have saved her if you had a chance. Yet I'm here thinking what would have happened if I didn't go on to look for Sai. What if I hadn't accepted? What if I had gone with Ino to wash the dishes? Would I have survived against them? No. I wouldn't, she said. I wouldn't have lasted. The wound on your side that would have killed any one of us. So if I was there, I would have died as well, she said. I don't want to admit it, a shinobi should never show their tears. A shinobi should never show their fears. A shinobi must not fear death but accept it, she said, in a grim tone. But I am not fit to be a shinobi, she said. I became one to follow Ino and Sasuke-kun, me, the civilian, with pink hair. Really? Where the hell is pink good enough a color to hide? And I never trained seriously, my stamina. It's just pitiful. And there's nothing it seems like I can do to become stronger. I am weak, ignorant, and most of the time they tell me, I just screech my voice off like some kind of a harpy. She looked back up as tears were in her eyes. I know I'm gonna be the next to die, Naruto, and I'm scared, she said. As the cloth on the table was wrinkling as Naruto was clenching his fists. No, you won't, he said. Aren't you planning on defecting? Where does Sakura fit in this, the fox asked. Do you think they will let you and her go? Do you even think that you'll manage to leave? Do not make promises you can't keep, Naruto. They will only end in tragedy and tears. I won't permit it, said Naruto. Naruto? You're not gonna die on the next mission, Sakura. You're not gonna die in the following one too, and the one after that again. You will become strong, with training and time. And Sai and I will protect you until, in return, you can protect us. We'll speak to Aoba Sensei and ask for more training. We will scour the library available for us Genins. And we will learn all about traps and whatnot. We will do everything we can to survive. I promise you this. It won't happen again. Sakura stopped trembling as she looked up at him. Thank you, Naruto-kun, she said. Time skip. It was late at night. In the Sarutobi compound, 4 figures stood in the darkness. All of them wore masks. These were 4 important people. One of them wore currently the Hokage's robes. You knew that this would happen. The gruff voice came from Asuma. You knew that Yagra was gonna strike against the civilians. The attack was too organized. The missing names, they were prepared. It could have been any of us, Asuma. Kakashi was the next one to speak. It could have been Ami or Sakura. It should have been Sakura. We draw the lot. She swapped with Naruto, and we had no choice though. They nearly killed the Jinchuriki as well. For all intern purposes, they almost killed him. It should have been a civilian's death, Sarutobi spoke calmly, to hush it down quickly and quietly, to try to pry more from Kiri. Inoichi has yet to come around. I hope when he does though, he does not take his anger out on Naruto. It never was about helping people that got hurt by the landslide, was it? Aoba said. It was about sending probes to Kiri territory to see if there was any refugees at the border with bloodlines. Bloodlines will always be accepted into Konoha, Hiruzen said. Beneath a leaf, they're all equal. But some are more equal than others. Isn't that right, father? Asuma said. You told me to pass that team, that they would not be trained by me but by the clans. You told me everything will take care of itself, and that tradition was all that the clans would see. But this tradition destroyed my team and killed one of my Genins. Fault the clans, not me, Hiruzen said. They should have trained your children more. Like I did with you. And I ran away for years after that, Asuma said. Maybe, but you were strong enough to enter the daimyo's court, weren't you? And you are still here, bickering against my ways. Not many clan leaders can say that about their children. Ino was the only child, Aoba said. It is sad, isn't it? The idea of wanting a spear isn't something many clans do anymore. The Uchihas did, with Itachi and Sasuke, but I do not know about the others. The spear child is usually kept hidden, to appear at a moment's notice in case he or she is needed. Normally, the spear is civilian, rather than shinobi. Kakashi spoke up. I think Naruto and Kabuto have some sort of history. Hiruzen narrowed his eyes towards him. Explain. He backed away from him fearfully when the Chunin came close to heal him. Any reason, Aoba? Asked Hiruzen. He looked terrified, but I can't understand why. I checked all the medical charts. Kabuto wasn't his medic, never. He never met him before. Maybe it's because of the same color of hair. Mizuki here was pale white too, right? More like cerulean light, Asuma said. And when did you start to know the fine details of color? Asked Kakashi. Well, Kurenai insists that crimson, red, and petunia red are different colors. Fascinating as that is, Hiruzen said, we have other things to discuss. I plan on Team 13 taking a silent graduation. Anyone against it? Everyone was silent about that, as they thought it over. If I may, Aoba said after a while, why not have them go through the first part of the examination, and then tell them to give up before the main event? That would show that they have the right mindset to follow the leader, even if they still want to participate. But choosing to give up showed that they list their leader commands. Even better, said Kakashi. Speak to each of them first, before the starting of the second exam. Tell each of them that the third exam is optional like the second, and have each of them go through the second without delivering that information to one another. Shinobis need secrecy after all. And what if they share the information? Telling one not to share the secret to the other is a waste of time if they tell each other about it. We should just tell them all and let it be easy. The kids earn it after everything. Nothing is earned without sweat, Hiruzen said. We will go with Takashi's suggestion. Furthermore, there will be a punishment. Yes, I will set a punishment in place. Tell them, if they reveal the information to the others, it's the equivalent of a S-rank secret. They need to surrender so the clan children and the foreign teams can pass. And they will also have a secondary task of taking out foreign shinobis and team, not of our liking. Yes, that will be enough, said Sarutobi. Sai and Naruto, maybe. But Sakura. Hiruzen turned towards Aoba. Then train her more. Concentrate on her more. If she's a weak link, then batter her up with steel until she's stronger. Sai and Naruto are both receiving private training on the side. Give something more to the girl, Aoba. She's got excellent control. I was planning on medical nin. Or, again, not enough. Said Hiruzen. That can begin when she's a chunin. Till then, what else does she have? She was first in theory in the academy, was she? Stress her. And see her point of breakage. Bring her to the torture and interrogation department. And get her to learn the interrogation methods. She might be a civilian, but that doesn't mean she can't be molded into a kunoichi. T&I clearance will be difficult to acquire. Sarutobi simply smirked. I said, bring her. And let her learn, Aoba. In our world, information is power. Learning a way to get the information out of an enemy is priceless. And with Ino Yamanaka's death, Kakashi narrowed his eye. You plan on placing Sakura on a clan-only spot in the future? He asked as he looked towards Hiruzen. This never was about killing a civilian to make the point to the other Genins. This was about killing our clan children. From the very beginning, silence had a key, Hiruzen said. So what if a position that is always been held by a Yamanaka member is going to be left to a ballot now? So what if a civilian is better at it? It is just a random event. It could have happened to any other clan children, not just Ino. The information was purposely leaked to the other, here Anvus. They were expecting me, Father, Asuma said. They were expecting bloodlines. Maybe so, Hiruzen said, but I did not leak anything. I know someone who will do that in my place. To prove a lesson. And you let him, said Asuma. His voice was filled with disbelief. The Yamanakas have been close allies to Sarutobi for decades now. Why? You cannot have power and multiple heads, Asuma, Hiruzen said. You can have secrets amongst the enemies, secrets amongst your friends, but you cannot have secrets amongst your comrade. There is no such thing as a council of clan heads, but given enough time, there can be. Is that all, Asuma said? Is that really the only reason? You speak like I planned this, Asuma, Sarutobi said. Do you know what the true skill of a politician is? It is to find a way to profit in any situation, no matter when the opportunity presents itself. If the attack was successful against Sakura Haruno, if she had been the one to gone, then I would have spoken to Naruto about the true culprit. Had it been successful on another civilian, then I would have stressed the need for the academy to up their training regime. If it had taken another clan child, it would have been the same as now. Sasuke was given to Kakashi to keep him safe, so he would have been protected. This is why I left the daimyo's court, father, said Asuma. Everything with you is just a damn mean to an end, isn't it? You still can't be that naive, Asuma, Sarutobi said. The reason why you came back is because you grew disillusional to the politics that was going on in the capital. Half of the Guardians rebel against the daimyo for a reason, didn't they? Asuma remained quiet afterwards. Calmly, Sarutobi turned his gaze towards the other two. Aoba, you have your orders. Kakashi, find anything on Kabuto that we can use to get him out of Konoha. Naruto is the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. If he snaps, you know what will happen. Yes, Okage-sama. With that, they vanished, leaving Asuma and Sarutobi alone. Why must you be so difficult, son? Why are you making this sound easy, Asuma says. He slammed his fist on a nearby wall. You've changed since mother's death. No. Bowaka was many things, but not the reason. I've never changed, Asuma. You just gotten better of seeing underneath the underneath. Why trust Aoba though? I understand Kakashi, but Aoba. He's a shinobi from a civilian family, Hiruzen said. He more than anyone else can understand about what is happening. To be dismissed just because you don't have a unique blood. Many of the Inuzaka techniques can be taught to outsiders. The Yamanaka special ability. It is but only a skill that can be learned in youth. The dojutsus might be impossible to use unless you're willing to steal them. But anyone, any shinobi can send chakra to their eyes and watch a anime ensign and see how they move it and see how they mold the chakra. But we don't have a bloodline, Sarutobi said. Exactly, Hiruzen said. What if only bloodlines were to be required? What if it was only special skills? To become shinobis, Asuma, we of the Sarutobi clan summon monkeys. But the true strength lies not in them, but in our ability to adapt. Humans are not really inherently stronger than beasts, but we learn to change that with tools, haven't we? Do not forget to adapt is to survive on the battlefield. So who will I get as a replacement, Asuma asks. A certain Miraboshi, said Hiruzen. Costume Miraboshi? Asuma said. Yes, the eternal Genin himself, Hiruzen said. It will be for the best. He will help both Shikamaru and Choji cope with their loss. And even if he does decide to avoid graduation, he will be an asset with the previous task. Asuma clenched his right fist. He knew there was something else. Something Hiruzen was not telling him. Was it a test of his skills as a teacher? Was this some sadistic way of making him the clown of the entire Konoha village? As he turned to leave, but Hiruzen spoke once more. Don't slack off, Asuma. Dark times are coming. The darkness is still moving. And when it comes, I hope Kami will still be able to put up a good fight. To those words, Asuma had nothing to say back, as he simply left. As the place fell into silence, the meeting was over. Time skip. Life is fleeting. That was the 3 words Danzo said after Naruto told him his tale about what happened in the mission. You can't expect life to last. Why live then? Naruto asks. Because we have a purpose, Danzo said, that small nod. To have family. To have a good book to read. To have friends. Small things. Things that we must protect. Our dreams. Bonds. We wish to protect Konoha because it's our duty. It is our purpose. But they are ignorant of our sacrifice, Danzo said. They believe that shinobis are just tools of war. That life is made of peace and the only way to bad situations is talking your way through it. Do you know what happened, Naruto, when you extend peace? Think, what would the enemy do when you exchange a kuna in your hand with a branch of flowers? They would attack, said Naruto. Exactly, Danzo said. The second Hokage was attacked and grievously wounded after Kumo peace talks. And once again, we tried to make peace with Kumo, and the Hyuga heiress was nearly kidnapped. Do you know that Konoha is dying, Naruto? Huh? The age of entrance in the academy was 4. Instead of pampering our shinobis, however, results were asked immediately. By the age of 12, a shinobi was already at tuning. They were either bloody or they were a corpse. They go on the dangerous missions, but you could ask any child your age right now to kill, and they would hesitate in doing so. Isn't that right though? Said Naruto. It isn't, Danzo said. Shinobis don't always need to kill, but they must not hesitate once the order is given. I have already killed. Does that mean I'm ready? Said Naruto. I can say with little doubt that you're a shinobi, Naruto. Maybe not the fastest, or the most cunning, but you're a shinobi, you're a genin. You are at least worthy of your rank. As Naruto realized that Danzo was actually praising him, and it felt nice. I want more training, he said. I want to become stronger and stronger. so that I can protect the people precious to me. Danzo coughed slightly as he turned his single eye on him. People eventually die, Naruto. You should value ideals more than individuals. Humans betrayed. Humans lie. Humans generally can't be trusted, but ideals can. A strong Konoha, a strong village that birthed strong shinobis to prepare for the future. That is my dream. That is what I strive for. You might create a few bonds with a few people, Naruto, but eventually, as they always do, those bonds will break. And those will wound you far more than anything an enemy could have done. Civilians create bonds. Shinobis are tasked with breaking them most of the time. But when you trust in the bigger picture, deaths would only be temporary setbacks. Naruto frowned. You'll understand eventually, Danzo said. Let us return to your training. Naruto nodded as he got back to his feet. As Danzo raised his cane, chakra flowed onto the man's feet as he moved. The next thing Naruto knew, he felt pain as the end of the stick slammed into his stomach. As he had to roll to the side, avoiding the other strike that came from above, he skittered backwards, dodging that swipe. If Danzo had that sword, you'd probably cut his face in half right now. As Danzo's speed increased, dead. As a cane, it was inches away from his right eye. As Danzo brought it back down to the ground, the wind was blowing calmly around them. Silence is a shroud of a shinobi. To fight in silence without words that increase tension. To talk, to speak, or to interact, break the tension. To act on one tension, to make a shinobi snap first. That is what we will be working on. As Naruto nodded as he wondered what his teammates were doing though. Sakura was in agonizing pain. Her sensei had apparently decided that she was to become the punching sack of the team. Sai had been merciful, but their sensei hadn't, not even a bit. The spar with Sai had been a cakewalk even though she lost. Compared to what her sensei had did, she could feel her joints flare in pain as she just thought about moving. Her right ankle had been dislocated, even putting a small amount of weight on it made her cry out in pain. Her vision was blurry, but she could make out her sensei talking to Sai about something. She couldn't hear pretty well. Her head was banged up against a tree bark. Hospital. She sighed inwardly. So they were gonna bring her to hospital. Useless. She flinched. She didn't know which one of them said that, but she heard the words. She was then picked up as she glanced up as she saw the face of Sai. Sai? As her vision started to fade, she started to lose conscious. I'll do better, she said. I'll do better next time. As she fell unconscious. Not hearing what Sai said, but she wasn't going to stop. So what if she was battered and bruised? Sensei had just stepped up with her training so Ino's death would not be repeated with one of his students. It had to be that, because there was no reason for Aoba Sensei to act cruel with her. Otherwise than that. Really, it has to be. At the same time, Team 7 was being thrown around through the entire training ground. Viciousness doesn't even describe what their sensei was doing. As Ami had literally broken and started to cry like a fountain, Kiba was feeling soreness all over his body, but he could still stand. On the other hand, Sasuke was crushed. He had been completely crushed. He had his limbs twisted and broken, his eyes snapped shut because of sand, and his breathing was irregular. He didn't doubt for a second who was the strongest between him and Kakashi. But his hatred, his anger was flaring towards the man. Yet it didn't matter. And the Inuyasha was the only one that stood between him and their sensei. Well, said Kakashi as he appeared behind Kiba. What have we learned today? With the back of his hand, he slammed Kiba into a nearby tree as he used his other hand to pull out his book. As Kakashi blinked as he looked around, all of them on the ground. I think I might have gone overboard a bit. Well, I can't expect anything more for today, he said. As he created 2 clones, he was pretty sure they would be treated in the hospital. And if he had done it well enough, they wouldn't be able to participate in student exams. There really wasn't any need to risk them with upcoming exams. Control, promotions or not, things were bound to happen. Broken bones would give them time to think furthermore. If worse came to worse though, and they heal up and they still want to enter, he would make sure they wouldn't, even if he had to place Ami under a genjutsu. Meanwhile, Asuma was taking a puff from his cigarette as he found himself interrupted by Inoichi. The Yamanaka said nothing, only look at the tombstone. The most recent name on it was clear. Ino Yamanaka. She was always smiling, Inoichi whispered. She was so happy when she became a kunoichi. I entrusted her safety to you, Asuma. He looked at Asuma, but there was no accusation or hate in his eyes or anger. She was the apple of my eyes. Always. My sweet little girl. Inoichi. You knew I would have never, I know. Said Inoichi. I know. I heard that she was separated from the rest of the group. I heard the enemies were strong. Jonin and Chunin level. I know there was nothing she could have done no matter what, but still, why her? Why not anyone else? Asuma said nothing as the wind picked up. If I find out what really happened, Inoichi said slowly, I will have my revenge. As the man simply turned and left. 2 days later, as for those 2 days, Aoba pushed Sakura, yes. He wasn't focused on much on Sai and Naruto. He mainly focused on Sakura. By the start of the 3rd day, they could tell something was wrong. Their Jonin sensei was acting stranger than normal. I'm going to die, Sakura said, with exhaustion filling her voice. I can't go on like this as she coughed. Fight on, Cherry, said Sai. Your punches have gotten better. Fine. As she launched her fist, but Sai caught it. He spun around her as he kicked away her leg. From negative to 0. It is an improvement, said Sai. Sakura growled as she then coughed. Aoba appeared, stopping her from saying anything else. We're going to the torture and interrogation department. As Sakura raised her eyebrow, but Sai kept quiet. The walk towards the department was silent. And the way Aoba was moving, it was like the man was carrying something heavy on his conscience. As they stopped in front of a door and they entered. Sai, wait here. As he signaled for Sakura to come with him. She nodded. She made her way in the room. As Sai stayed outside. Sakura blinked when she saw. Strapped to the chest, he was wearing no shirt. His mouth was gagged. Naruto? Torture instruments were in the corner of the room. More of them being held by wicked hooks. A few of them still had flesh and muscle on it. As Sakura felt like she wanted to puke. Well then, it took a while, but you'll be leading the interrogation of shinobi number 62607. He has been found trying to leave Konoha with important information. He planned on settling with Kiri. It was discovered that he actually helped in the slaughter of the civilians and the death of— That's a lie, Sakura whispered, cutting Aoba off. You're lying. Do not interrupt me, Aoba said. He has been given earplugs, a blindfold and a gag, so he doesn't know who's interrogating him. He has been held here for 4 hours already. As Sakura's heartbeat was beating fast, he has confessed to the crimes, but he's not saying whose handler is in Konoha. She shook her head, tears almost falling from her eyes, as they were brimming, swelled to the point where they were about to explode with tears. Naruto would have never done something like that. You are hereby tasked to acquire that information without killing the subject. It's a C-rank mission. We would value you and Sai contribution to this, to test your loyalty to the leaf. So you better start convincing us that you did not help him along with this. Try not to betray my expectations, Sakura. One rogue student is hard enough to execute. And then he left. It couldn't be true. Naruto would never. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was a genjutsu. She raised her hand. Release. But he was still there. Release, release, release. But no matter what she did, he was still there. Tears started running down her cheek. No. Why was he still there? As she moved and removed the mouth gag. Naruto Uzumaki, shinobi. She removed the earplugs. And also the blindfold. As he kept on repeating his name and the code number. Naruto, she said. It's me, Sakura. Please tell me this is true. But he just kept on repeating. Naruto, they said you killed Ino. They said you want to leave for Kiri. Please tell me this is true, she whispered. But he just kept on repeating his name and his code number. His eyes glanced around. Was he looking for a way out? She clenched her right fist. We went to eat at Hebai 3 or 4 days ago. You had ramen of all things, she said. You told me you didn't do it. You were so sorry it made my heart clench. Please tell me it wasn't you. He whispered once again, his name and his number. She shook her head. I can't do this. Please, I know you're innocent. Just say something, tell me. Naruto Uzumaki. As he started to whisper his name and his number once again. She slammed her right fist against his left cheek. I don't want your damn shinobi ID or your name, she said. As she grabbed his shoulders, tell me the truth. You did not kill Ino. He spat out blood from his mouth, but he kept on looking at her with firmness. Naruto Uzumaki. The second fist that she sent slammed on his cheek. The third one broke his nose. The fourth one slammed into his temple. Tell me the truth. You didn't kill Ino. You hit like a girl, Naruto muttered. I am a girl, you stupid jerk, as she slapped him. Why would you do that? Why would you go to Kiri? Naruto Uzumaki. Sakura grabbed the first thing on the table. It was a blade, a surrogate blade. As she moved it close towards his eye. As her hand shook violently. I will take your eye, Naruto. Please, answer me. Please tell me it's a lie and that you're innocent. please, I don't want to take away your eye. This had to be a test, it had to be a lie. He need to say something. Naruto Uzumaki, shinobi. He screamed as her hand moved as she plunged it into his right socket. Blood came out as she removed the blade with the eyeball. He screamed and he did not stop screaming. Even as he shut his eyelid closed, his blood pulled out. She held the blade in her hand as her breathing started to get shallow. No one came to stop her. There was no one, it was no test. This was reality. Naruto was a traitor. This was real. This was real. This was real, her mind kept on telling her. You killed Ino. You killed her. You monster. You sick freak, you killed her. Tell me, who else knew? Tell me who your handler is, or I'll take your other eye. Tell me as her hand moved and grabbed a pair of pliers, or I'll take out your teeth one by one. As she moved the pliers to his mouth, tell me the truth, Naruto. Naruto. Uzu. She forcefully yanked out one of his teeth. You killed Ino. I am not gonna forgive you for this. She was my friend and you killed her, you bastard. You don't deserve to have friends. You don't deserve to have anyone at all. As she grabbed the poker and slammed it into his right hand. As it pierced his skin, it passed straight through. Tell me who your handler is. She screamed at him as she twisted the poker. I'm sorry. As tears were in his eyes. He coughed. I can't do this. It was then that she realized what she was doing. She backed away. As she puked, she started to shake. Please, Naruto, I can't do this. I don't want to hurt you. Tell me the truth. He just looked at her with his remaining eye. It was filled with tears. They looked at each other for a moment. Before the door burst open, Aoba rushed in as he grabbed Sakura's wrist, moving her back as another masked shinobi rushed inside. It was barely a second, but she seemed to lose her bearings, as she felt confused and dizzy. As she blinked and looked around, she was now in a room with Inoichi Yamanaka. Sakura, take a deep breath, will you? Ino's father said to her. His hands were in his familiar sign for the Yamanaka technique. As he muttered the words, it lasted for only a second. She's clear. She blinked. What's going on? She looked around confused. Sensei, she said. She looked around. I'll take it from here, Inoichi said. Aoba, alright. As the man dashed out of the room, Sakura said. Sakura looked around as she realized she was in a room with a window on the side. Interrogation room. I'm fine here, Sensei, she said. What's going on? Sakura, I left you and Sai to spar. I went to get Naruto from his sensei, right? She slowly nodded. When I reached his sensei, I was told that he was already left with me. Sakura frowned. I returned back and by then, Sai, and you were no longer there. She collapsed on the ground. What is he saying? I thought something was wrong, and I went towards the gates of Konoha. If an infiltrator was using my face, I thought that he might left with my team. I warned the gate guards and hurried to the Hokage's office. The moment I found out, I checked in with the interrogation department. I quickly rushed here with the envoy team. Oh my god, said Sakura. They found you like that. Sakura started to shake. I tortured Naruto. Why didn't he say that he was innocent? As she started to shake violently, we can assume whoever it was told him that it was a test on pain tolerance. It's normally a composed test for becoming a Jonin, but Chunins aren't required to take it. He thought it was a test. He probably kept on repeating his shinobi ID to you, right? As she remembered him kept on repeating his ID. She couldn't even talk. I should have known. Where is he? She said. Sakura, you were ordered by me to torture him. You told me I had to. I just didn't have to kill him, but everything else. I removed one of his eye. I stabbed him in the arm. I took out one of his teeth. I can't, she said. She hugged herself tightly. Sakura, calm down. You have to calm down. You cannot crack. If you crack, the enemy wins. You don't want him to win, right? I want to kill them, she said. I want them to pay for what they did. Where's Naruto, she asked. He's being treated at the hospital. A normal shinobi will have their career end. But knowing Naruto, he will probably be up and about tomorrow. Yes, Naruto always heal fast. But she realized, I need to change teams. Are you sure? Aoba asked. You should come out clear with him. If you don't, you might carry this burden forever. She closed her eyes. Would he even forgive me? You can't know that unless you tried, right? I'm afraid, she said. If he doesn't, then it is fine to change teams. No, Sensei. I'm afraid that he will. But guys, if you ain't subscribed right here, if you want next part to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember to share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, remember to stay in tune for the rest of the what ifs coming your way. And I hope you enjoy each and every one of them. So yeah, without further ado, I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace.